sharing some of your time today so you can discover intelligent email integration for Dynamics 365 with our SalesConnect solution. So just a little background for the two of us. Robbie Morrison is the Chief Solution Strategist for Velosio. He spent nearly 20 years helping customers build and deploy elegant technology and business solutions. He is a top technology leader and system architect with extensive knowledge of Microsoft Dynamics 365, Microsoft AX, cloud and infrastructure products. And really his expertise is unrivaled when it comes to rapidly overcoming business challenges for companies of all sizes, from startups to enterprise class organizations. My name is Dave Wallen. I am the VP of Marketing for Velosio. I've been selling and marketing Microsoft-based solutions for nearly 20 years. I actually started in the industry selling and marketing Pivotal CRM, or Pivotal Relationship 99, as it was known, back in the days when Siebel ruled the CRM world and Salesforce wasn't even a dream. So in kind of the Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM world, my most notable position was my time as the head of marketing for Field 1, which was acquired by Microsoft and now forms the basis of Dynamics 365 for field service. As Vice President of Product and Channel Marketing for Velosio, I'm responsible for market research, customer insights, and go-to-market planning and development for all of our Velosio Group software and solutions, as well as for our Velosio channel programs. So Robbie, next slide. We'll tell people what we're going to be talking about today. So our agenda, we'll be really focusing on the challenges of CRM for key stakeholders, your salespeople, executives, and especially those that own and manage their organization's CRM implementations, like many of you out there. We've got a marketing phrase we use at Velosio: your CRM is stupid, and I'll explain what we mean by that. Then I'll pass things over to Robbie so he can explain how you can address the challenges and make your CRM smart with SalesConnect. Robbie will demonstrate some of the capabilities. We'll kind of review things, provide some details about a special offer for organizations interested in implementing the solution, and as Adam said, finally we'll wrap up things with the Q&A session. So let's start with those challenges, right? CRM systems are sold to executives, to sales leadership, with this promise of better data security, greater visibility, more efficient sales processes, higher customer responsiveness, and improved pipeline management. But realizing these outcomes requires effective user adoption. CRM is basically about process automation, as we all know. The marketing and customer service functions, which are characterized by defined processes, right? They benefit inherently from this process automation. Since CRM makes and improves the quality of their work, makes their jobs easier, marketing and customer service teams are very quick to embrace CRM. But as we know, and as we've seen for 25 plus years, salespersons or salespeople generally perceive CRM as a disruption, right, with little or no benefit to them as individuals. And indeed, they see system usage as a distraction from working with customers and driving revenue. And I've kind of seen two major reasons why salespeople are hostile to CRM. And the first there in the lower right-hand corner is the most obvious. Salespeople will ask about just about anything. What's in it for me? Properly implemented, a CRM system is going to provide great benefits to salespeople. Formal sales process automation is proven to generate more revenue. Having organized access to customer and opportunity information is going to increase their effectiveness, and process automation will significantly reduce the time spent on non-customer facing activities. But companies have been challenged in selling their sellers on the benefits and demonstrating the results of a CRM implementation, which will give them better close ratios, more wins, greater revenue production, and in the end, higher commissions. Salespeople are notoriously hard to sell. They need to see results, which requires their participation. Without participation, CRM doesn't show results, and it's kind of the first vicious cycle of CRM. The bottom line, entering CRM data is boring, it's time-consuming, and it's contrary to the action-oriented nature of our salespeople. They are hardwired to rebel against it. Good salespeople are hardworking, dedicated people, and to be successful, they need to be vigorous about qualification. They have to be ruthless about prioritizing how they expend their time and resources. I mean, they are and they should be focused on closing deals and driving revenue. And they're saying these things that are in those other boxes. You know, it takes time away from talking to customers and prospects. It takes time away from my revenue generating activities. And there's nothing in there that I don't already know. It's not helping me do my job. Now then there's also the stereotype of the bad salesperson, and we've got to deal with them as well. And they're driven to get the most return out of the least effort, right? They're going to do just what they need to do to meet quota. And in most cases, that does not involve really good CRM data entry. And then the journeyman people, you know, they're in the middle of what they're doing. But in all these cases, all these salespeople, they are about prioritizing their time and energy, and they will focus on what they need to do to get their job done and how they perceive it. Salespeople are reluctant at best and really just-in-time data entry clerks. When for demands for data exceed what they feel is necessary at the time, they're going to start skipping steps, and they may or may not catch up to them later in the sales cycle. You know, most of them will batch their CRM entry, right? End of the day or end of the week, and they'll look at their sketchy notes, or they'll try to remember what conversations were had, and then that's what we get as input. You know, one solution to this issue is to customize CRM to support sales motions and activities and in context. So data input is part of that natural flow of the sales process. And with enough investment, the approach can be very successful. And it's been especially with inside sales teams or call center employees, and again, the groups that are built around very defined processes. But the challenge is with outside sales teams, as well as those teams that are focused on complex or big ticket sales. With more team members, buyers, and sales activities, the demand for data entry expands. And the traditional solution for this has been Outlook synchronization. You know, within Outlook, as we know, salespeople can use the add-in to associate their Outlook activities with Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM. Now, one problem with this solution is that it requires salespeople to proactively link those activities with the Dynamics 365 records. It's historically been a glitchy solution. Microsoft has been recommending companies move to server-side synchronization. That addresses many of the technical issues of Outlook Sync, but it doesn't address the bigger issues, which is for most organizations, salespeople are only part of an account team, and many of them are not licensed for Dynamics 365 or CRM. This requires that salespeople collect data on interactions from the rest of the team and once again manually input the data. And even then, it ignores customer interaction with other people in the organization that the salespeople are not aware of what's going on. It could be service delivery, administration, billing, product development, you know, what have you, depending on your business. You know, we can think about extending CRM licensing and to use an extended account team, and some organizations have, but in general, that increases your licensing costs while encountering that same problem of requiring people to take time and resources away from taking care of customers and spending time entering data into a system that they personally feel they are not getting value out of. Again, you know, with some sufficient customization and integration, we can maybe design workflows that enable that data entry that's part of the overall business process. But now we're really talking about a pretty incredible level of investment and integration. So that creates challenges for the executives, right? The executives are sold on CRM to get that greater visibility, to get the improved sales. But without that adoption by salespeople, the data needed to provide the visibility and insights to our stakeholders really isn't there, right? And we've probably seen and heard these from our senior executives in building reports. You know, the result is there's a dissatisfaction with CRM on the part of leadership who will blame, you know, may blame on the system, right? And without their buy-in and support, the system's not going to succeed. So, you know, the root cause of the executive challenge is the salesperson challenge. Then, you know, that kind of all comes downhill to whoever owns CRM, you know, our IT and CRM leaders. On the next slide. The salesperson issue is the reason why these investments in CRM fail to meet expectations. You know, it's not a perfect analogy, but the analogy that we kicked around is it's similar to the last mile problem in broadband access, right? People have built these amazing cutting edge technologies, these incredible networks, but the people that's still connecting to it with a copper wire aren't getting that benefit of the system. The network is your CRM, and relying on your salespeople to enter data is like relying on old copper wire. And what we also see is certainly the time and effort expended by IT groups or CRM support groups on reports. In an attempt to meet those expectations, organizations get caught up in creating new reports and views to meet those executive requirements. But at the end of the data is not there, or if it's not accurate, the reports aren't providing use. We talked a little about Outlook Sync. Outlook Sync's been around for 15 years, and after multiple and new versions of CRM and Outlook, it's still a problem. Microsoft tried to deprecate Outlook desktop Outlook Sync and get everybody to move over to server-side sync, and there was such an uproar that they recalled their deprecation. So people are still out there; they're still doing it. And we've also seen, we hear a lot about issues about email sync, and especially when it's on an Apple or some other device, it's caused a lot of issues for IT and support. So, when we say, well, your CRM is stupid, what do we mean by that? We're trying to have a little fun, but it's really that your CRM, it's not that it's stupid, it's just uninformed. We've used to use the word ignorant, but that's even as sounds as mean as stupid. But the bottom line is just relying on your salespeople to tell you what's going on. That's not optimal, as we said. It doesn't know what the other people in your organization are doing it, because interactions with service delivery and billing and sometimes customer service and administration, whoever, it represents the bulk of interactions, and in many cases the strongest relationships in your organization. It can't tell you what's going on in your accounts because it doesn't know, and therefore the reports it provides are not going to meet expectations. And that causes the loss of executive sponsorship, executive buy-in. It reduces the incentive for salespeople to enter data, and that's the big vicious cycle that results in pain and frustration for everyone. Especially the teams that are supporting CRM. But there is a better way. It's SalesConnect, and Robbie is going to give you the details on that solution.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to transition through my slides a little more easily.
Yeah, well, maybe we can connect better next time.
Yeah, anyway. So yeah, we've got a great solution to these problems and the challenges that the CRM executives, the IT teams, and salespeople have. We do that with our SalesConnect solution, which seamlessly integrates your email and calendar and Dynamics 365 for sales, so that the salespeople no longer need to manually enter data and associate records with accounts. It can intelligently search through all of that data and give and retrieve the relevant information in a much cleaner and more organized way. And it works with just about any email system. It's Office 365, Gmail, the two big ones. And it really gives a level of visibility that you couldn't get before into the relationships, into what's going on at those accounts across your organization. And with the data that's driven and what we call the case score, it really provides the next level of analytics into your pipelines, into what's going on at your accounts and contacts, so that you can more accurately forecast and understand the customer's buying behaviors. So we talk about the seamless integration, and what do we mean by that? Well, there's no longer a need to associate records. A salesperson doesn't have to click any buttons to associate an email address or communications with an account. It just works across your email, and it works across any operating system. They don't have to be running Outlook to use the Outlook integration. It just works, and it works across the Mac. If you're using iOS primarily, all of that is taken care of. And as you can see, we've got some screenshots throughout, and I'm also going to show a demo a little later, but kind of wanted to show you as I talked about them. So in that seamless integration, you'll see in one of our iframes, activities, and it shows both calendar, outgoing and ingoing email and incoming emails from accounts, and they're automatically tracked inside of Dynamics 365 for the people copied on those communications, and it also it tracks your support people and people that aren't even CRM users. So across the organization, it gives you that insight to what's going on at the account. It also pulls up and gives a snapshot of those communications. So instead of needing to go into your email and search for a record, you'll be able to see it right inside of the CRM solution. you'll be able to pull up the documents that were sent, and if you were copied on the email, actually open the document and see what was inside of it. You'll be able to search through through emails, through calendar appointments, through attachments, and really see the interactions. And as I said, that intelligent search is really intelligent. It's those that use CRM now know that the search feature inside of Dynamics CRM is very limiting. Well, SalesConnect provides a much more systematic search of relevant information, pulls it right in through the terms that the sales rep or the account manager is looking for, and it collects that information across all of the email users. Like I said earlier, not just the Dynamics 365 for sales users, but all the users of the email system. And it finds and pulls in all of the documents exchanged for those customers. So if they say a support person had emailed something that was relevant for a sales that was going on, you'll be able to see that. And it also finds new contacts at your prospects or customers. So if you start interacting with a new prospect or a new contact that's not there, that's not in your CRM system, it'll automatically add them so you can start tracking all communications across that and keep track and add new records. So the intelligent search, it's right inside of the Dynamics 365 account screen. As you can see, this is a screenshot of how it looks, and we'll see it a little later. But it's very easy to get to, very easy to filter and get exactly the information you want to see. Which, when you talk about building those relationships and understanding the pipeline, it's all about the visibility into the accounts and understanding those interactions, knowing what your organization's doing so that you don't call into a hostile account without some information to hopefully smooth things over. You know everybody inside of the organization that's dealing with that account, whether it be an executive, whether it be a clerk of some sort, and really better able to measure and manage the strength of the customer relationships. Sometimes relationships with customers are strong not because of the sales rep, but because of a delivery person, or maybe a person out in the warehouse, something that's not directly related to sales, but it's a strong relationship, and you need to be able to pull those people in when you're trying to get a new deal closed. So you're able to measure that and uncover those type of relationships in your account. Right inside of the screen, you'll see that there's you'll see which team members are connected and engaged with the customer. You see who has the best connection at the customer, whether it, who's the internal person at your organization and who are they best connected to at the customer. You're able to see when the last interactions were all in one screen, when the last inbound response was or email, and you're able to see what the next meetings or the next events are that are going on with that customer if it's scheduled in any of the calendars across your organization. And then knowing how the team's being engaged, you're able to see, this is an example, not a lot of, the demo data is a little bit lacking here, but you're able to really see what type of interactions are going on and from who. You're able to see that customer service is interacting a lot with this customer. And maybe that's a customer that's long term with you and they've moved into more of a customer service type role. Or you're able to see that there's a couple of people in sales interacting with them as well. And really, that's what drives this next level of analytics is knowing those interactions, knowing the scores and how the customer is being interacted with, which allows us to build a more robust and accurate forecasting model. If you've got a customer or a prospect that's projected to close $1 million in business, but you haven't talked to them or nobody's had an interaction with them for 2 months, you're able to know that that's probably a deal that's somewhat in danger. So you need to get out there and interact. It allows you to identify and act on customers' buying behaviors. Maybe over time you learn that customers are interacting a month ahead of when they buy, but they have a lot of activity, and then they have to go into an approval process, and they come back. Helps you to understand those buying behaviors. And then it allows you to identify your high potential customers, the customers with the most revenue at hand that you need to be interacting with, and even be able to tell the customers that you're interacting maybe more than you need to for lower revenue. So move around the activities of your sales team and your customer service or your teams to focus on those high potential customers. And it really allows the sales management to manage that effectiveness of their teams and focus them on the deals that they need to be focused on. We have this graph here that I'll show you in a few minutes, but it really shows your interaction chart. What you see on the left-hand side are the people inside of the organization, so our company, the CRM users, and who they're interacting with at the customer. You can see where the strongest relationships are in a visual representation. You can also see, that there's multiple people that are being interacted with. So really a visual way of seeing that those interactions. And we'll see that again, like I said, in a few minutes when I go into the demo. And then we have a dashboard, a couple of different dashboards, but this is the main dashboard that shows your revenue versus the engagement. So high revenue, high engagement is what you want to see. You don't want to see high revenue and no engagement. It means you need to be interacting more with that customer. You get to see the sales pipeline versus engagement in a more of a bubble type graph. We'll call out neglected accounts or neglected opportunities, so you know that you have an opportunity sitting out there with no interaction. Sales management can help to move that along, get someone engaging. Maybe a salesperson's overloaded, they've been on PTO, out sick, and if somebody can just start reaching out, that'll really help to move that account forward. You get to see in the accounts and in the sales pipeline who is making the most connections with different accounts. And then seeing who those team members are interacting with and how that's trending over time. Are they doing more interactions or less interactions? So maybe, if they're doing less interactions, maybe a salesperson's getting lazy or they're out looking for another job. You can see those trends over time and make sure that your customers are being taken care of. And then, of course, look at actual revenue versus the activity score. So over time, you'll be able to see what kind of activity score will drive what type of revenue, and you can manage your workload based on that. Again, just some of these graphs more blown up. As I said, the attention that's being given to prospects is where your sales management needs to focus, and being able to see that and make sure that that these accounts are being focused on you. For instance, in this graph, you see that Fourth Coffee has $10,000 in potential revenue, but nobody's interacting with them in the time frame that this quarterly score is coming up. So no interactions. That's probably not a good thing. We need to have somebody reaching out to Fourth Coffee. And then again, another way to look at the pipelines, you see that you have 9,000 and 7,000 in potential revenue sitting around a 2,500 interaction score. Probably means that that's somewhere in the neighborhood you need. But then over here on 1214, you have 10K that's not being interacted with at all. So we need to be moving that up, and it's probably trending down. Again, another blow up of the graph that we'll see, but as we saw earlier, actual revenue versus the activity score. So you can kind of see that a higher revenue opportunity drives more interactions, which I think we would all expect. So without looking at any more just screen grabs, I'm going to jump into our to a live system, a demo system. So hopefully this you can all see my system now. So this is a Dynamics 365 sales demo environment with our SalesConnect solution deployed. We're sitting on the dashboard that I showed a little earlier. Everything again is live data, so you're able to see here that those same type of interaction scores falling across the quarter. And we can see that fourth coffee that's got $5,000 now in potential revenue sitting at a 0 interaction score. That would mean that they're neglected. And as you can see, yep, down here in the bottom, they're the #1 neglected account. The topic's a 3D printing material that looks like we have an opportunity at. So would tell you that we need to be interacting with this. And this comes up on the salesperson's dashboard so they know what to go and look at, and then across all accounts would show up on your sales management dashboard for you. Again, the bubble score on the right-hand side shows the engagement compared to the revenue. So higher revenue should mean higher engagements, kind of the way we look at it. Sometimes, you might be able to close high revenue with lower engagement for certain accounts, but over a natural trend would be that you want to spend time on the opportunities that are going to drive the highest revenue. Then we have our new contacts reported to date. So week 8 of 2018, we were able to grab 14 new contacts out of communications across the organization and put them into the system. And over time, as your system is deployed and used, you'll be able to build out your database and have much more deep relationships at the accounts. And then on the last box down in the bottom right, we have a graph that shows over time your actual revenue based on a K-score. So again, that's our interaction score, and you'll see that that you'll be able to as you track your interactions over time, to gauge how much interaction is needed to close what type of revenue and be able to better forecast based on historical trends. So most of the power of the solution happens in the account screen. Let me go into that. So as you can see here, we have our score both on a quarterly and a monthly basis. And if you have an open opportunity, you would hope that the monthly score would be trending at least in some type of positive or neutral manner, so that you continue to interact and they don't the opportunity doesn't go stale with you. But you can see here on the Datum Corporation that over the quarter, we've been interacting with them a fair amount, but there's been no interaction with them this month so far. Not very far into the month, but still no interaction may mean that the account's going stale. So we go into that account, and if you go down to our iframe, SalesConnect, you'll see some of the data that I showed you earlier. You see the interactions that are going on between the team and between the customer. Again, this is demo data, so it's a little bit, same names, but it gives you the idea of what's going on. You can filter this by week, see what kind of interactions have went on this week, what kind of went on in the month and quarter, and then, of course, the all times that are tracked. And then one of the really powerful things for the people using the system is the activities on the right. You can see all the emails, all the calendar invitations, all the calendar and meeting requests that have been sent for that customer. You see the details of the email if the user of the system was copied on that email. So for instance, the person I'm logged into has to be copied on the email, or they only see the subject. They won't see any of the detail in the email. So very secure. But you can see what's going on just here in this box. If you want to see the documents that are shared, you can click over on the documents. And again, if you were copied on those, you'll be able to open them. So maybe we want to see this quote that went out 4 months ago. You can click right on the quote and get a box showing you exactly what went out. You can, of course, print it, save it, or do anything you need to, expand it. It's right here inside of the system. You don't have to go and ask somebody for a copy of that quote that was sent, and you don't need to go and look through your email if you were the one sending it. It's all stored right here available to you. And as you can see, this is padded folding chair. So if we didn't know what was going on, but we knew that we had sent a quote sometime for a padded folding chair. We can just search for that, and the search will pull up any document or any communications, any attachments that have those keywords in it that you search for. So again, that same quote comes up and is available to you. Again, you can look at meeting invites, and you can see what kind of meetings have been happening over the last last few months, whatever time you're tracking and storing in the system. Really be able to see if there's close type meetings going, if you're expecting to close a deal at this company, this prospect, and then you're able to kind of get a snapshot of what's going on. And then one last thing, we can go and look at one opportunities over the last 12 months just to kind of look at the trends. As I told you, as you use the system over time, you'll get deals that close and be able to take a snapshot of what the interaction score was when those deals closed. So maybe over time you can say, well, if I'm going to close a deal of this size, I need to be interacting with the customer on this type of reoccurring basis. Really be able to drive some of the behavior. Okay, so with that, that's the live system. I will go back and do the presentation now, and Dave, turning it back over to you.
All right. So kind of summing things up, right, what we see is first we got benefits for salespeople, and it's kind of a hierarchy of benefits, if you will. The lower tier is simply helping them minimize the amount of time they need to spend entering CRM data. But so they get to do the things that they want to do, spend that time with customers and prospects. But the higher level benefit is now there's real valuable data for them. As we said, salespeople are all about prioritizing their time to maximize revenue production, to maximize the commissions they're going to make, the deals they're going to close, and the amount of revenue they're bringing into the organization. Now they know what's going on in their accounts. They know who's got relationships with different people that they can sell to. It's now no longer just the chore of entering data into CRM, but CRM is now of personal value to them. And that's going to drive better adoption. It's going to drive use, and it's going to get them to want to make sure that there's greater information from around the rest of the organization to help them make those priorities. That in turn is going to help our executives. So now the data that we need to provide the visibility, the reporting, the insights that our executives are looking for from that investment in CRM, we're now able to provide. And where that all comes down to, again, kind of most of the people who are on the call today, is the ability to provide. You're going to meet now the expectations for your salespeople, and that's going to promote adoption. You're meeting the expectations for those executives, for the insight and analytics that they're looking for. And from kind of the person, again, the kind of what's in it for me for people who have to support the CRM system, your help desk is going to be simplified. You've got your support overall is going to be simplified, and this is a very simple solution to get up and going. It's plug and play, and Robbie can probably talk a little more about the details there for people who are interested. And as kind of an inducement to get things up and started, Robbie's going to tell you about our early adopter program.
And so we have an early adopter program. The early adopter program includes a free implementation, free configuration of the system, so free deployment of the system. Again, it's very easy to be deployed. We interface with your corporate email system and then deploy some iframes and some dashboards. It's a managed solution, so very easy and very quick to deploy. And then we'll provide support and training for the solution so that you get up and running and know how to use it. And hopefully by doing that, you'll also be a referenceable customer for us in this early adopter program and really see the benefits of that we've driven to your sales team and your executive leadership. Okay. So I think now we're going to open it up for questions and discussion. So anything that, any questions come in?
I think you have to pass it to Adam.
Do I?
No, I'm good. I can I
Right.
can just read them off.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some questions coming in, and once again, if you have any questions, the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen, just type them in, and Dave and Robbie will try to get to everyone. So let's start. So someone's asking, what is used to determine best relationship?
So the K-score is a proprietary algorithm of based on the type of interactions going. So let's say that you have emails going out of a personal nature, the things in it are of a personal nature. It would still drive an interaction score, but an email that has a quote going out in it or has talking about pricing would be higher. A meeting invite that's demoing a system, or a meeting invite that is talking about closing would of course drive a higher interaction score. So and then interactions that have multiple multiple people copied on it, all the things that that would look like a sales close activity will drive higher interaction scores.
Great. Okay, let me see if we have, okay. So somebody is asking about security and permissions on emails. They're saying that they don't want the emails from their owners, for example, to the customer not to be tracked.
Yeah, so you can set any email box to not be tracked. You don't have to track all your email boxes. It's on the securities on a per mailbox basis. You can also, by default, the emails sent to sent and received is not displayed to someone that's not copied on that email. So if your owner sends an email to a prospect or customer and they didn't copy the salesperson, the interaction would still be scored, but it wouldn't be displayed and viewable to the salesperson that email was sent to the customer, just that there was an interaction going on between the owner and the customer. That's by default. And of course, if you don't want any email tracked from the owner or anybody in your organization, you can disallow them from tracking.
Okay, it looks like we have another few more questions coming in. Someone's asking, does this compete with customer insights for D365?
Well, so both have a similar goal in measuring customer value and the volume of interactions, but Customer Insight does not access the email system. It's more about it's more about business to consumer, and some business where the interactions are primarily like social media or web-based. If it's social media or web-based, it's Customer Insights is a great solution. But in that business to, that B2B, business to business, high value, high touch, where email and phone calls and meetings are the most important forms of customer engagement, then we believe SalesConnect's a much better solution because it's all driven from those emails. All those meetings and phone calls are what drives the interactions.
Another question that came in, SalesConnect seems to have a lot in common with relationship sales. How does your solution differ?
Well, they're complementary solutions. Relationship sales is an individual productivity tool. It allows the salespeople to leverage the prospect research capabilities and the integrated social selling tools of LinkedIn with Dynamics 365 for sales. But again, SalesConnect, our solution, is about those existing connections, the connections being made through your email, your meetings, and phone calls.
Robbie, we have another question. Is SalesConnect pricing based on storage or per user per month?
It's per user per month, and they're there is a storage limit on the per user per month, but you know, most will never get to that, and you can add additional storage for the overall organization to your solution. So it's per user per month with the ability to add more storage if you need more or longer history stored, more. You got a lot of attachments that maybe outweigh the storage that comes with it.
Great, thank you. And here's another question. What about D365 for relationship insights?
So I think we all know that's still a preview solution. It's not out to the market yet, but right now the solution is only about your own email, not the emails going across the organization. It's again a personal productivity tool, a personal tool for the salespeople. SalesConnect is about connecting all of your users, all of your email users, and all of their interactions to the customers, so that you can really understand and keep track of everything going on with that with those prospects and customers.
Great, thanks, Robbie. Let's just give people another minute or so to kind of collect their thoughts and see if we've got any more questions coming in. And once again, Q&A box on the lower right-hand side of the screen. Please feel free to type your questions. All right, so someone is asking, could SalesConnect be used in conjunction in D365 project services?
Yes, it could. Absolutely. If you have project services deployed, it can be used in conjunction with, and the accounts can be tracked, and the all of the email and the box we showed with all of the interactions is fully deployable into the PSA solution.
Great, thank you. See if anybody else has any questions. If somebody wants to contact you offline, Robbie, I can't remember if you showed your email.
I did not, but I can.
Okay.
Give me a second, I can type it on here.
Okay, perfect. While you're doing that, actually, we have another question that came in as well. So just let me know when you're ready for that.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Hopefully I can do two things at once.
Excellent. I like the multitasking. All right, so somebody is asking, can you use SalesConnect to populate your CRM with contacts?
Absolutely. Great. I like that question. I should have thought of that one. So one of the solutions we have is to be able to, what we call a quick start, to be able to take a new CRM system that's just been deployed, or maybe a system that's not being used. Connect your email system into your D365 sales, pull in all of the interactions, all of the contacts, and allow you as the customer or user of the CRM to create it automatically, or be able to go through and select which accounts you want to create accounts and create contacts inside of those accounts now. Absolutely. It can pre-populate and get this system up and running for you in a much more rapid and rapid fashion than going in and manually creating the accounts and contacts.
Thank you.
And I put my email address on the screen. Hopefully y'all can see that.
Perfect. I see that. See if anybody else has any more questions. Please do not be shy. Just give people another few seconds to kind of collect their thoughts, see if we have any more questions coming in. All right, so somebody is asking, portal interaction from customers' contacts, is it tracked?
Portal interactions would, it depends. So currently the interface is with email. So if those portal interactions are creating a notification or anything in your email system, then they absolutely would be tracked. If we need to look at extending the way we're gathering those interactions, we absolutely can. But again, if portal interactions are creating some kind of notification that goes into the email system, then they're automatically tracked. But everything's driven again off that connection between the email system and SalesConnect back to D365.
Perfect. Okay, all right. Well, it looks like that's all the questions. Once again, Robbie's email is up on the screen, so if you think of anything afterwards, make sure you write down his email, and you can feel free to contact him directly. Otherwise, Robbie, Dave, thanks so much for a great presentation. I really enjoyed that. Hope everybody else did as well. And hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks. My pleasure. Bye-bye.